Hello everybody, you're welcome to our osteoporosis class. So sitting up tall, shoulder blades back and down and head and neck in line. You can sit cross-legged or in your crook sitting position. Pop your left hand in underneath your bum, get your shoulder blades well back and your head and neck into line. Breathe in through your nose, and as you breathe out, pull up inside for your pelvic floor and tighten your core across the front and keep that held. Breathe in to prepare, then breathe out, keep your chin in line, bring your right ear down towards your right shoulder. Bring your left hand up and give your neck a little stretch to the side. Breathe in deeply to stay there. And then breathe out, slightly tilt your head around to look up at the corner of the room. Breathe in to stay there. And then breathe out, tuck the chin into the roof of your mouth and lift your head back. Breathe in to stay there. And relax the stretch. Pop the other hand under your hip, still keeping the core held. Chin into line, and then breathing out, bring your left ear down towards your left shoulder, keeping your face pointing forwards, your hand up above your ear, and then stretch down as deep as you can. Breathe in to stay there. And then breathing out, just turn very slightly to look towards the corner of the room, up towards over your right shoulder. Breathe in to stay there. And then bring your tongue to the roof of your mouth and bring your head back slightly. And the stretch, move to the front of the neck. Breathe in to stay there. And back to the midline. And then take some deep breaths in that upright position. So breathing in through your nose. And as you breathe out, you're going to pull up inside and tighten your pelvic floor and core. Breathe in to hold that. And then breathing out, get the air down to the bottom of your ribs. And breathe out and release. Breathe in to prepare, and then as you breathe out, pull up inside for the pelvic floor and tighten the core across the front. Breathing in to stretch out your ribs down low, and then breathing out, relax the air out through pursed lips. Breathe in air into the bottom of your lungs, and breathe out, pursed lips. Bypass the upper chest, and breathe out through pursed lips. And think what the back of the ribs is get as well. Keeping the rib cage wide and low as you breathe in. And then relax down onto the mat, and we do our hip release. So in crook line, feet lined up with knees and hips, shoulders relaxed back and the back of the head on the mat. Rock the pelvis into neutral, breathe in and out and pull up inside for the pelvic floor and tighten your core across the front. Breathe in to prepare, and then breathe out, open your left leg out to the side and slide it down the mat. Breathe in, turn the leg in and slide back up. Keep the core held. Breathing out to slide down and breathing in to come up. Don't let the pelvis roll from side to side. Make sure the pelvis stays in line with the ribs. Breathing out, open the leg out and slide down the mat. And breathe in, turn the leg in to come back up. Keep the ribs lined up, core switched on. And then replace that foot. Check on your pelvic floor and tabs, still working. And then breathing out, open the right leg out to the side to slide down the mat. Breathe in, turn the leg in and slide back up. Keep the core held. And breathe in to come up. One more like that. And lower the leg back down. Relax the core and rock the spine into neutral again. We're going to do our imprint release. So breathe in through your nose, and as you breathe out, pull up inside for the pelvic floor, tighten the core across the front, ribs and pelvis lined up, feet and knees lined up, shoulders relaxed, back of the head on the mat. Breathe in to prepare, and then breathe out, bring your ribs and pelvis down into the imprint. Breathe in to hold that, and then breathe out back to neutral. Keep that core really well pulled up inside, and breathe out, ribs and pelvis down into the imprint. Breathe in to hold that, and breathe out back to neutral. Keep the core switched on. Breathing out. and breathing in back to neutral. When you come to neutral, just have the ribs and pelvis level. And breathe out, ribs and pelvis down into the mat, really sinking down, your low back sinks into the mat. And breathe in back to neutral. Core switched on. And again, ribs down, pelvis tucked in, and back neutral. On the next one, we're going into our hip roll. So breathing out, ribs down, pelvis down through your imprint. Tuck your tailbone in, clench your glutes muscle, and peel up from your low back up towards your low ribs, but don't walk up the high ribs. Breathe in to stay there. Or breathe out, keep your glutes working. Hollow your tummy as you lower the ribs down, the low back, open the bones in your low back, one at a time down onto the mat, and back to the neutral position. Keep the core switched on. Breathing out, ribs and pelvis down through the imprint. Tuck your tailbone in. Clench your glutes muscle nice and firmly as you peel up, leading with your tailbone as you roll up. Breathe in to stay, don't come too high. The back of the ribs are still on the mat. And then breathe out, hollow your tummy. Start to lower one bone at a time. Lower ribs down, low back, one bone at a time. There's 5 bones, try and feel each one coming down. Back down to neutral. Breathe in to prepare, core switched on. Breathing out down through your imprint. Tuck your tailbone in. Clench your glutes muscle and peel it up. Hollowing out your tummy as you come up. Breathe in to stay. And breathing out hollow as you roll back down. Open up the bones, back down to the neutral position. Now follow my breathing. Breathe in. And breathe out hollow to roll back down. And back down to the neutral position. When we come down into our neutral position now, we're going to do our arm release. So relax the core, get yourself lined up, feet and legs lined up, shoulders relaxed, back of the head on the mat. Breathe in through your nose, and as you breathe out, pull up inside your pelvic floor, and then flatten your core across your front. The tummy becomes nice and firm and flat. Breathe in, bring your arms towards the ceiling. Then breathe out and reach your arms to the ceiling. Breathe in back to neutral. Breathing out, reach up. Breathe in back to neutral. Breathe out, stretch it up. Breathe in back to neutral. Now, shoulders, blades to meet behind your back. So breathing out, shoulder blades into the mat towards each other. And breathe in back to neutral. Breathe out, press them shoulder blades right into the mat towards each other. And breathe in back to neutral. Keep the elbows straight. Breathe out, ribs into the mat. And breathe in back to neutral. Lower your hands down by your side. Check your pelvic floor tabs are still switched on, nice and flat. Breathe out, bring your shoulders towards your ears. And breathe in back to neutral. Breathe out towards the ears. Breathing in back to neutral. And again. And breathe in back to neutral. Now stretch them towards your feet. Breathe out, reach the hands down towards your feet. And breathe in back to neutral. Breathe out, stretch to your feet. Breathe in back to neutral. And again. And breathe in back to neutral. And when you come back to the neutral position, keep the core held. Breathe in, bring your arms up towards the ceiling. And we're going to do our circles. So breathing out, bring the arms above your head and circle around your hips. Don't let the ribs flare out. So breathing in, arms up. Now breathe out, blow the arms above your head. And circle to your hips. Breathing in, bring your arms up. And then breathe out, blow your ribs into the floor as you bring them arms above your head. Dissociate your arms from your trunk and circle to your hips. Breathing in, arms up. Don't let those ribs rise, keep them down. Circle around your hips. So if you want to do what I'm doing now, put your hand on the rib and do one arm. So breathing in, arm up. Now feel your ribs there with the other hand. Don't let it rise. And circle around. Check the other side. Breathing in, arm up. Hand on the rib and blow out and circle your hips. Don't let the ribs rise. Breathing in, arms up, and then breathe out, arms above your head. Don't let the ribs flare out. Keep it in line and circle to your hips. And stay up in the next one, and we'll do our scissors. So keep the core switched on. Breathe out, open one arm towards the floor above your head and the other towards your hip. And breathe in to close. Straighten your elbows, straighten your hands. Breathe out, open the arms up, but don't let the ribs rise. And breathing in to close. Hold the core and stretch out. Breathing in to come back. Breathing in to come back. Hold the core. Breathe in to come back. Breathe in to come back. One more each side. And back. And back. And lower the arms and release the core. Just going to stretch your trunk out to either side. So just staying on your back with your ribs on the floor. Just bend your knees down towards the right side to stretch out your low back. Breathe in to stay there. And breathe out, come back to the middle. We'll just tighten the core first of all. So breathe in to prepare. Breathe out, pull up inside to the pelvic floor and tighten the core across the front. Hands on the floor, ribs stay down. Breathe in to prepare. And then breathe out, lower your legs down to the side. Breathe in, take a deep breath. And breathe out, come back to the middle. Breathe in to prepare. Now breathe out, go to the other side. Big deep breath out. Breathe in deeply to stretch yourself along the trunk. And breathe out back to the middle. Keep the core switched on. Breathing out, lower to the right side. Keep the ribs lined, don't let them flare up. Breathe in to stay there. And breathe out back to the middle. Hold the core. Breathe out, go to the other side. Breathe in to stay there. And breathe out back to the middle. One more each side. So breathing out, open the legs down to the right side. Keep the rib low. Breathe in to stay there. Don't let that rib pop away up. Keep it nice and low. Breathe in to stay. And breathe out back to the middle. And breathe out, go to the left. Stretch the leg. Keep that right rib down as low as you can onto the mat. Breathe in to stay there. And breathe out back to the middle. Well done. Now we're going to go over onto our tummy and do some work on our tummy. So we're going to start with our forehead on the mat, our hands out by our elbows out at shoulder level, and your legs are out straight. Rock your belly button up off the floor, and then breathe in through your nose, and as you breathe out, pull up inside to the pelvic floor and tighten the core across the front. Going to do our breaststroke prep. So forehead is on the mat, breathe in to prepare, and breathe out, shoulder blades down your back and raise up to look at the mat. Breathe in to stay, and then breathe out to lower. Keep the core held. Breathe out, shoulder blades down your back and raise up. Breathe in to stay, and breathe out to lower. Keep the core working. Breathe out, shoulder blades down, raise up, keeping the head and neck in line so you don't see the floor above your mat. Breathe in to stay there, and breathe out to lower. Keep the core working. Go with my breathing. Core switched on. Breathe out, stretch the shoulder blades down your back and raise up. Breathe in to stay, and breathe out to lower. Last one. Breathing out, shoulder blades down your back. Keep the back of the neck long as you raise up to look at the mat. Breathe in to stay, and breathe out to lower. Bring your two hands down by your side. We're going to do the same exercise, only with our hands by our side. So make sure the core is switched on, belly button pulled up off the floor. Breathe in to prepare, and then breathing our shoulder blades back and down and raise up. Breathe in to stay, and breathe out to lower back down. Core switched on. Breathe out, open the front of the chest and raise up. Breathe in to stay, and breathe out to lower. Core working. Breathe out, shoulder blades way down your back. Reach your hands towards your feet, up you come. Face should be looking at the mat, the back of your neck should be locked. Breathing in to stay, and breathe out to lower. And two more. Keep the back of the neck long. You're looking where your eyes were on the floor, and lower back down. And then check on the pelvic floor and tabs again. Breathe in and out, pull up inside for the pelvic floor and tabs. Get your belly button light on the floor. Bring your two hands up and place them to your forehead. Breathe in to prepare, and then breathe out. You're going to raise up your upper body, elbows and hands as you keep your hands touching your forehead. Breathe in to stay there, and breathe out to lower. Belly button off the floor. Breathing out, raise up. Breathe in to stay, and breathe out to lower. Try not to move your legs. Breathing out, raise up. Breathe in to stay, and breathe out to lower. Hold that belly button off the floor. Breathing out, raise up. Breathe in to stay. Breathing out to lower. Feel the pressure just below your shoulder blades. Breathing out, raise up. Breathe in to stay, and breathe out to lower. Last one. Now we're going to do our heel kick and our heel squeeze prone. So stay in that neutral position, rock the pelvis again, breathe in and out and pull up inside for your pelvic floor and taps. Breathing in to prepare, then breathing out, bend your right knee up with your toe pointed, up with your heel flat, and then lower to the ground. Breathing out, up pointed, up flat, and low. Keep the core working. And breathe into lower. Breathe out, up pointed, up flat, breathe into lower. Try and feel it in your hamstring, in the back of your thigh. Pull it in deep, and breathe into lower. Don't bounce it, just pull hard using the hamstring muscle, pull hard using the hamstring muscle, breathe into lower. 2 more. Still working the core, keeping that belly button light on the ground. Try not to let the belly button dip at all. And back down. Now release the core, let the 2 legs out over the edge of the mat, rock the belly button off the floor again, breathe in and out and pull up inside for the pelvic floor and taps. Breathing in to prepare and breathe out, bend up 1 leg and the second leg. Breathing in, bring the heels together. Now keep that core switched on, breathe out, squeeze the heels together. Now keep the core working, breathe in, release the heels but don't release the core. Breathe out, squeeze in with the glutes muscle, get the heels squashed in together. And breathe in, release, but keep the core held. Breathe out, squeeze the heels together. And breathe in, release the pressure, but keep the position. And breathe out, squeeze them glutes, really work the glutes, get the heels squeezed in together. And breathe in to release. 2 more. And lower back there. Now we're going to pull up through our stretch. So elbows back towards your hips. Push up onto your elbows and your knees, but keep your spine in a neutral position. Keep your spine in a neutral position as you gradually sit back onto your heels, still keeping your spine into a neutral position as you come back onto your heels and gradually allow yourself to come up to sit. And then we're going to get into our 4-point kneeling. So in 4-point kneeling, you're going to rock your spine into a neutral position. You're going to get your face in line with the body and parallel to the floor. And your hands are under shoulders, shoulder width apart, knees under hips, hip width apart. Breathe in through your nose, and as you breathe out, pull up inside for the pelvic floor and tighten that core to pull your belly button in towards your spine to really hold your belly button in and try not to let it drop back out again. Then breathe in to prepare. We do our cat curls. Breathe out, tuck the tailbone in and push your waist up towards the ceiling. Your low ribs up, your middle ribs up between your shoulder blades, and then tuck your chin in towards your neck and lower down to look at your knees. Breathing in to stay, and then breathe out, tailbone out and waist comes down, low ribs down, middle ribs down, down between your shoulders, head and neck into line, and your face comes up to look out in front. Breathe in to stay. Now breathe out, push your low back up to the ceiling as high as you can, curling it up, then your low ribs up as high as you can, then your middle ribs up as high as you can, up between your shoulder blades, your head and neck comes into line, and you look down at your knees. Breathe in to stay, and then breathe out, tailbone out and waist down, low ribs down, middle ribs down as low as you can go, right down between your shoulder blades, elbows stay straight, head and neck into line, and you come up to look out in front. Breathe in to stay. Breathe out, tuck that tailbone in, push your waist up towards the ceiling, low ribs up, middle ribs up between your shoulders, tuck your chin towards your neck, and your head comes down to look at your knees. Breathing in to stay. Breathe out, tailbone out and waist down, low ribs down, middle ribs down, down between your shoulders, head and neck into line, and the face comes up to look out in front. Breathe in to stay. Breathe out, tuck that tailbone in again, waist up, low ribs, middle ribs, up between your shoulders, tuck your chin towards your neck, and the face comes down to look at your knees, and back to the neutral position. In our neutral position then, we're going to do another little bit of work here. So breathe in to prepare, and breathe out, pull up inside for your pelvic floor and tighten your core across the front. Now we're going to do work on our shoulders here. So breathe in to prepare. Breathe out, I want you to drop between your shoulders, and then breathing in, push as high as you can up between your shoulders. Breathe out, just drop between your shoulders, keep the elbows straight. Breathing in, push as high as you can up between your shoulders. Keep your head and neck in line. Breathe out, drop just between your shoulders, the rest of your body stays still. And breathe in, stretch it right up as high as you can. And again, breathe out, drop deep between your shoulders, keep the elbows straight, drop as low as you can between your shoulders so your shoulder blades almost meet at the back. And then breathing in, stretch as far as you can. Last one, breathe out, drop between your shoulders, let your shoulders sink right down in your shoulder blades, should be almost meeting at the back. And breathe in, stretch up as high as you can go. And relax in the middle. Now rock your spine into that neutral position again, keeping the core. We're going to recruit the core again and do a leg pull front, so tuck your toes in underneath. So spine in neutral, rock the pelvis, breathe in and out, pull up inside to the pelvic floor and tighten the core across the front. Breathe in, prepare, and breathe out, tuck into your toes and push up to lift your knees 1 inch off the floor. Breathe in to stay there, and breathe out. When you lower, don't release your belly button, keep it tight and firm, don't arch your back. Breathe out, push deep into your toes, and really use your toes and your knees, push into your toes so your spine stays dead straight. Breathe in to stay there, and breathe out to lower. Keep that core really well held. Breathe out, push into your toes and lift up. Breathe in to stay, and breathe out to lower. Hold the core really deep. Breathe out, push into your toes and lift. Breathe in to stay, and breathe out to lower. Still working that tummy muscle as deep as you can. Breathe out, push into the toes and lift. Breathe in to stay, and breathe out to lower. Last one. And relax the core. So you're back in your neutral position. We're going to do our leg pull front prep. So you're going to, we're now going to do our push-up prep. So bring your 2 hands just about 6 inches or 20 centimeters to the front. And then you're going to bring yourself into a triangular position by tucking in your tailbone. So don't arch your back like this and don't have your bum sticking out in the air. We're going to get into a triangle. So it'll be a triangle between your knees, your shoulders, and your hands. And then we'll come back to this position again. So rock the pelvis into neutral, breathe in and out, and pull up inside to the pelvic floor and tighten the core across the front. Breathe in to prepare. Breathe out, tuck the tailbone in and come down into the triangle. Breathe in to stay there, and breathe out, come back to the start position. Breathe in to prepare. Breathe out, tuck your tailbone in, down into the triangle. Breathe in to stay, and breathe out back to neutral. Core switched on. Breathe in to prepare. Breathe out, tuck your tailbone in, down into a triangle. Breathe in to stay, and breathe out back to neutral. Core switched on all the time. Breathe in to prepare. Breathe out, down over your hands, tuck your tailbone in. Breathe in to stay, and breathe out back to neutral. Last 2. Breathe in to stay. And again, breathe out, tuck your tailbone in, over into a triangle. Breathe in to stay, and breathe out back to neutral. And come back to your mid position. And from here, we're going to go down onto our side. So down on our side, we're going to do our spinal rotation. So lie down on your side. Roll your little pillow into the sausage shape and bring it towards the back of the mat. Get your ear at the front of the little pillow, a good gap in underneath your neck, room for a cat thrown under your neck, and then a gap at your waist, room for a mouse thrown under your waist. Hands should be joined and out in front, hips stacked one on top of the other, shoulders stacked one on top of the other, and then rock your pelvis backwards and forwards to find your neutral position. Feet are back in line with your hips. Breathe in to prepare, and as you breathe out, pull up inside the pelvic floor and tighten that core to pull the spine into line and keep the core really well switched on, the ribs lined up with the pelvis. Breathing in, bring your arm up towards the ceiling, and then leading with your ribs, breathe out, roll back, leave your hips where they are. Breathe in deeply, stay there to stretch out your rib cage, and then breathe out, roll the whole way back. Spine rotation is so important for releasing the upper body. Breathing in, bring the arm up. Breathe out, lead with those ribs again as you roll back. Breathe in to stay. And then breathing out to come forward. Keep the core switched on. Breathing in, coming up. Breathe out, roll back. Breathe in to stay. And breathe out to come forward and join the hands. Breathing in up. Make sure the core is on, even on the full stretch. Breathe in to stay. And breathe out to come back. Breathing in, bring the arm up. Breathe out, roll it back. Breathe in to stay. Breathe out to come forward. Last one. And put your hand underneath your ear. We're going to do our clam. So release the core to begin with. Then get yourself nicely lined up again. Hands going to be on the hip this time. Breathe in through your nose, and as you breathe out, pull up inside to the pelvic floor and flatten in, tighten the tummy, ribs in line with pelvis. Breathe in to prepare, or breathe out, open up the top leg. Breathing in to close. Breathe out, open right up, really feel the glutes muscle working. And breathe in to close. Use your hand here for two purposes. So breathing out, open up the top leg. Now just palpate in here, just inside the hip bone. Is your calf muscle? Do you feel firm in the muscle there? And breathe in to close. And then breathing out, open up again, and you're making sure with your hand that your hip doesn't roll back. So you don't want to see this happening. You're going to keep that hip in line. Breathe in to close. And breathing out, open up. And breathing in to close. Last two. And then push up onto your side and do a side bend. So inside sitting, hand lined up with hips and feet, rock your spine into a neutral position, pop your top leg in so that your heel is in the crease of your ankle, and pop your hand over your leg. We're going to go up onto our front knee, so breathe in to prepare, and breathe out, pull up inside the pelvic floor, tighten the core, ribs lined up with pelvis. And then breathing out, push up and over, breathe in to stay, and breathe out to lower back down. Core switched on. Breathe out, push up and over. Breathe in to stay. And breathe out to lower. Really use the bum on the lower side to push up. So breathing out up. Use your glutes. Breathe in to stay. And breathe out to lower. Remember, you're trying to get a good stretch up your whole rib cage. Breathing out, push up and over. Breathe in to stay. And breathe out to lower. Last one. And lower back down. Now we'll get over onto the other side and repeat the exercises. So in our start position again, the ear at the front of the pillow, gap under the ear, hands joined, shoulder on shoulder, hip on hip, knees bent, feet back, and your spine in a neutral position. Breathe in through your nose, and as you breathe out, pull up inside for your pelvic floor and tighten the core across the front, ribs and pelvis lined up. Breathing in, bring your arm towards the ceiling. Now breathe out, lead with those ribs and roll right back. Breathe in deeply to stretch out the rib cage, and breathe out, roll the whole way back to join the hands. Breathing in, bring the arm up. Breathe out, rotate back. Breathe in to stay. And breathe out to join the hands again. Hold the core. And lead with the ribs. Breathe in to stay. And breathe out to come back. Again, breathing in, arm up. Breathing out, roll back. And the pelvic floor and tabs should stay switched on all the time. Breathe in to stay. Breathing out, join the hands. Last two. And one more. Core switched on. Don't let the pelvis roll. It's just the upper body. Breathe in to stay. And breathing out to come back. You pop the hand underneath your ear. You're going to bring your other hand onto your hip and open up the top leg. We do our clam exercise. Keep the shoulder well down from your ear when you're doing this. And then breathe in for your prayer. Breathe out, pull up inside for your pelvic floor and tighten the core across the front. Breathing out, open up the top leg.
And breathing in to close. Listen to the breathing. Remember, when you come down, that the core stays switched on all the time. You don't release the core in between the exercise. You're aiming to hold your core held tight through every little sequence that we do, and then you release it at the end to let go of the core to relax the muscle. But you're trying to get it to work at a low grade through all of the exercises. Breathing in to close. Last two. And close. And now we're going to get up to our side bend. So push into your side sitting position. Hand, hip, and feet all lined up. Bring the top heel into the crook of the ankle. Knee pointing forwards. Ribs lined up with the pelvis. Hand out over your knee. Breathe in through your nose, and as you breathe out, pull up inside for the pelvic floor and tighten the core across the front. Breathe in to prepare, and then breathe out and raise up and over. Breathe in to stay, and breathe out to lower. Hold the core. Breathe in to get ready. Breathe out up and over. Breathe in to stay, and breathe out to lower. Really stretch the ribs. Breathing out, push up and over. Breathe in to stay. Breathe out to lower. Hold the core all the time. Breathing out, push up and over. Breathe in to stay. Breathe out to lower. Last one. And back down we go. Now, we're going to roll over onto our tummy. Now we're going to do our one leg extension now. So stay in your prone position, hands by your ears, legs are out straight, rock your belly button off the floor. Breathe in through your nose, and as you breathe out, pull up inside to the pelvic floor and tighten the core. Then breathe in to get ready. Breathe out, raise up one leg, and then breathe in to lower. Keep the knees straight. Breathe out, raise the second leg. Breathe in to lower. Don't drop the belly button. Breathe out, raise. Breathe into lower. Breathe out, raise. Breathe into lower. Keep the core working. Breathe out, raise up one leg, keeping the leg dead straight. Breathe in to close. Breathe out, raise up the leg. Breathing into lower. Don't let the belly drop. Breathe out, raise. Breathe into lower. Breathe out, raise. Breathe into lower. Keep the core switched on. Breathe out, raise. Breathe into lower. Breathe out, raise. Breathe into lower. One more. And lower back down. From there, we're going to push up into our shell stretch again. So bring your elbows back towards your hips. Push up onto your elbows and your knees. Keep your spine in a neutral position. We're going to do a modified shell. So you're going to keep your spine in a neutral position, and up you come to sit. And we're going to do some work on our back now. So lying down on the mat, we're going to do our head nods. So pull the pillow out from underneath your head if you don't need it. If you do need it, keep it in. You're going to get the back of your head resting on the mat. You're in croup lying, rock your spine into neutral. Breathe in through your nose, and as you breathe out, pull up inside from the pelvic floor and tighten the core across the front. Breathing in to prepare. Breathe out, lengthen the back of the neck, tuck the chin in, and breathe in back parallel to the ceiling. Breathe out, lengthen and tuck in. Breathe in, back parallel. Hold the core. Breathe out, lengthen, bring your chin in. Breathe in, back parallel. Breathe out, lengthen, tuck your chin in. Breathe in, back parallel. Don't let the ribs flare. Keep the core switched on. Last one. and back to neutral. Now from here, we're going to go and do our tabletop, get in and out of tabletop, and then we'll rock our spine into a neutral position. Breathe in through your nose, and as you breathe out, pull up inside the pelvic floor, tighten the core across the front. So think not about just down here, but think about your ribs together as well. And then breathe in to prepare, breathe out, sink down into your implants and ribs and pelvis down deep into the floor. Now breathe in first leg to tabletop. If you can maintain it, do. If you can't, hold on to it when you lift your second leg. Breathe out, second leg up to tabletop. Breathe in, lower the first leg down, toe, heel. Breathe out, lower the second leg down, toe, heel. Keep the imprint. Breathing in, first leg up. Breathe out, second leg up. Breathe in, first leg down. Breathe out, second leg down. Really keep those ribs low into the floor. Breathing in, first leg up. Breathe out, second leg up. Make sure it's a 90-degree angle, that you're not coming away up too far. You want to be at 90 degrees. Breathing into lower and lower. Keep the core switched on. Breathing in, first leg up to tabletop. Breathe out, second leg to tabletop. Breathe in, first leg down. And breathe out, second leg down. Now we're going to do a single leg stretch from tabletop with the back of our head on the mat. So breathing in, first leg up. Breathe out, second leg up. Now breathe in, stretch out the left leg right down towards the floor, but don't lose your imprint. Breathe in to come back to tabletop. Breathe out, second leg down as low as you can without losing your imprint. And breathe in back to tabletop. Breathing out, second leg, stretch it out. Breathe in back to tabletop. Hold the core. Breathe out, stretch out the other leg. Breathing in to come back. Think about just below your ribs, working hard. Breathing out, stretch out. Try and keep the ribs down into the floor. Breathing in to come back. Breathe out, stretch out. Breathe in to come back. Hold the core really deep. Breathe out, stretch out. Breathe in to come back. Keep that deep core. Breathing in to come back. Only go it as far as you can before you lose the imprint. If you're losing the imprint, come back. Breathing out to stretch out. Breathing in to come back. Breathing out to stretch out. Breathing in to come back. Keep that imprint really deep, core switched on. One more each side. Back up. Breathing in, lower one leg down, toe, heel, and the second leg down, toe, heel. Well done. Now we're going to let our legs down straight. We're going to do our single leg stretch, or single leg circle. We're going to put our legs down and we're going to do our single leg circle. So out straight, spine and neutral. Breathe in through your nose, and as you breathe out, pull up inside the pelvic floor, tighten the core across the front. Breathe in, bring your leg up through tabletop and stretch it up in the air. If you can get your legs straight, then work your quads and keep your legs straight as you can. If you can't, allow the knee to come towards your chest, but try and have your foot directly over your hip. So when you're doing the circle, you're directly over your hip. You're not down here. So get that leg straight as you can. Breathe in to prepare. Then breathe out for half a circle. Breathe in for half a circle. Keep your hands on your pelvis to make sure it doesn't move. Breathing out for half a circle. Breathe in for half. Try and have half the circle going outside your body and half the circle coming across your body. Don't let the pelvis move. Breathe out for half, breath in for half. Keep the ribs in line. And then change the direction of the circle. Breath out for half, breath in for half. Last circle. And then bend the knee and lower it down, slide it down the mat. Release the core, get your spine back into a good alignment. Breathe in through your nose, and as you breathe out, pull up inside the pelvic floor, tighten the core across the front. Breathe in, bring your leg up to hip level and stretch it up in the air. Then breath out for half a circle and breath in for half. Again, half the circle outside the hip, half the circle coming across the body. Keep the ribs down. Try and keep that spine in neutral. If you can, keep the legs straight and then change direction. Breath out for half a circle and breath in for half. Holding the core all the time. And last circle. Back to the midline and lower the leg down into crook line. Catch your other leg and gently pull yourself up to sit. Now we're going to do some hip lifts. So bring your hands behind you. Keep your feet in a crook position. And then spine in neutral to begin with. Breathe in through your nose, and as you breathe out, pull up inside the pelvic floor and tighten the core across the front. Breathe in to prepare. You breathe out, tuck your tailbone in, clench your glutes muscle and roll yourself up. Breathe in to stay and breathe out, hollow your tummy as you roll back down. Breathe in to prepare. Breathe out, tuck your tailbone in, clench your glutes muscle and roll up, holding your core. Breathe in to stay and breathe out, hollow as you roll back down. Breathe in to prepare. Breathe out, tuck your tailbone in, clench your glutes muscle and roll your tailbone up. Breathe in to stay. And then breathe out, hollow your tummy as you roll back down to sit. Breathe in to prepare. Breathe out, tuck your tailbone in, clench your glutes muscle and roll up. Breathe in to stay. And breathe out, hollow and roll back down to sit. Okay. And from here, we're going to go down onto the mat. Okay, we're going to roll over now and do some leg work. So over onto your side, and we're going to start with the side kick. Okay, so with the side kick, what we do is we start with your arm above your head. The pillow comes in between the ear and the shoulder here, okay, and you keep your head in line with your body. Your feet are going to come towards the front of the mat. So you now have like a 30-degree angle here at your hips. So if you look down, you should be able to see your feet. So the hand is out, ear on the pillow, shoulders stacked one on top of the other, hips stacked one on top of the other, and we have brought our feet to 30-degree angle. Rock our pelvis to get our spine into a neutral position and push the top hip away as usual to make that leg a little bit longer to give us the gap at the waist. Breathe in through the nose, and as we breathe out, pull up inside for the pelvic floor and tighten the core across the front, and then you can use your fist for support. Then breathing in, lift your leg up with the toe pointed. Breathe out forwards with the toe pointed, forwards with the toe flat, breathing in back and tighten your bum to go behind. So breathe out forwards with the leg pointed, forwards with the leg flat, back, clench the glutes muscle to bring it behind. Breathing out, breathing in back and tighten the bum to come behind. Keep the core switched on. Breathing in back and clench your glutes as you go behind it, only the glutes working there. Breathe out forwards with the toe pointed, forwards with the toe flat, breathing in back and clench your glutes. Now don't swing the leg, control it. Forwards pointed, forwards back, breathing in back, tighten your bum to go behind. Hold the core all the time. Breathing in back and clench that glute muscle. Again. Back and tighten, keep the core switched on, ribs and pelvis connected at the front. Breathing in back, clench the glutes to come behind, and then lower the leg down. Now we're going to bring the two legs back into line with your body. Going to make your long straight line, okay? Fingertips to toes, your ear is on the pillow. You got your arm in front for support. And now you're going to make that top leg longer than the bottom leg, so you get your little gap in at your waist, always allowing the space for the mouse to crawl in there. You don't have any mouse, but. Okay, so now we're going to do our single leg lift series, okay? So breathing in to get ready, breathe out, pull up inside for the pelvic floor and tighten the core across the front. Breathing in, lift the leg up pointed, breathe out, flatten and lower. Breathing in, lift, point and stretch. Breathing out to flatten and lower. Make sure you haven't rolled back. Make sure you're feeling it in your glutes muscle, not in the front of the hip. Breathing in, point and stretch. Breathing out to flatten and lower. Hold the core. You want to be feeling it in the glutes. Okay, breath in as you come up, stretch the leg, and breathing in out to lower. Make the leg really long. Don't drop at the waist. And feel it behind the hip muscle, behind the hip joint. You want to feel it in the glutes. And now we're going to stay up on the next one and breath out for half a circle and in for half. Remember the rules, don't drop at the waist. Make the little circle in the front and push into the glutes behind. Keep the core switched on. Don't let the leg go too high, that means you've lost the control at the waist. And change the circle direction. Hold the core. Really work the tummy, keep the ribs and pelvis connected. And lower the leg down. Now, I'm going to add in the next 3 exercises, okay? So rock the pelvis into the neutral position, breathe in and out and pull up inside for the pelvic floor and tighten the core across the front. So breathing in, bring your leg up with the toe pointed. Breathe out, bring the other leg up to meet it. Flatten your 2 feet and lower back down. Breathe in, lift and point and stretch. Breathe out, come up to meet. Flatten the feet and lower. Breathing in, lift, point and stretch. Breathing out, meet the feet. Flatten them and lower. Hold the core and don't drop at the waist. Make sure you're using the bum muscle and the inner thigh and lower. Hold the core. Now don't drop back at the pelvis. You've got to keep your feet back in line with your body. Don't drop back. If you drop back, you'll be using the front of the hip and we don't want that to happen. Hold the core. Breath in as you come up. Breathe out, meet it. Flatten the feet and lower. Long straight line. Keep the core switched on. Connect with ribs and pelvis at the front. Don't let that gap happen there. Don't arch your back. And last one of those. Now relax the core and then make sure your spine is in line. Push that top leg away again to keep that gap at the waist. Ribs and pelvis lined up. Breathe in through the nose and as you breathe out, pull up inside for the pelvic floor and tighten the core across the front. Then breathing in to get ready and then breathing out, lift the 2 legs up together. Breathe in, flatten and lower. Hold the core. Keep the core switched on. Last one. And lower back down. Now we're going to add in the side bend one. Okay, so you're going to keep your spine in the neutral position. You're going to pop your hand up over your hip, and now as you come up, you're going to raise the upper body and the legs. So make sure you've got your spine in neutral, push the top hip away, breathe in and out and pull up inside for the pelvic floor and tighten the core across the front. Now don't roll back, breathe in to get ready, and then breathing out, push up and reach the hands down the legs as you lift the legs. Breathe in to stay and breathe out to lower back down. Keep the core switched on. Breathing out, lift, point and stretch. Breathe in to stay and breathe out to lower. Keep the core switched on all the time. Tabs working. Make sure you're coming up over the highest point of the hip. You don't want to feel yourself rolling back. Right, so don't do this. Okay, keep yourself right up on the hip and lower. Last 2. And again. And bend up the 2 knees. And from there we're going to roll over to the other side. So now we're going to start with our side kick. So line up again with your hand above your head, the pillow in between your ear and your shoulder, your face stays in line, shoulders stacked, hips stacked, and then you bring your 2 feet towards the front of the mat. Rock your pelvis into that neutral position again, push the top hip away to get a little gap at your waist, and you're going to use your fist for support. Breathe in through your nose, and as you breathe out, pull up inside for the pelvic floor and tighten the core across the front. And breathing in, lift the leg up to hip level, and breathe out, go forwards with the toe pointed, forwards with the toe flat, then breathing in back and tighten your bum to go behind. So breathe out forwards with the toe pointed, forwards with the toe flat, breathing in back and clench your glutes muscle to go behind. Breathing out forwards pointed, forwards flat, breathing in back, don't let the back arch, tighten the bum, all glute work when you go behind. So breathe out forwards pointed, forwards flat, breathing in back and tighten, keeping the leg parallel with the floor. And tighten. Remember, don't let the leg dip. Keep it at the nice level and clench the glutes. Don't let the ribs arch. Breathing out forwards pointed, forwards flat, breathing in back, tighten. And don't let the ribs poke out in the front. Keep them lined up with the pelvis. A good connection in the front between the pelvis all the time with the rib cage. And tighten. Don't swing the leg. Don't use momentum. And tighten. Last one. And clench the glutes and then lower the leg down and bring the 2 legs back in line with your body. Now from here we're going to do our side leg lift series. So in your neutral, breathe in and out, pull up inside for the pelvic floor and tighten the core. Push the top leg away to make it longer than the bottom leg. Keep the gap at the waist. Everything else nicely lined up. And then breathing in, lift your leg up with the toe pointed. Breathing out to flatten and lower. Make sure you're feeling it behind in the bum, not up at the front. You don't want to feel it here. And breathe in, lift, point and stretch. Breathing out to flatten and lower. Hold the core. Really working the tummy. Keep that connection. Making sure the leg is going really long. Remember, if the leg goes high, you've dropped at the waist. Keep it really long. Lift and point and stretch. Breathing out to flatten and lower. And we're going to stay up on the next one. So breathing in, lift the leg up. Breathing out for half a circle and in for half. Now hold your core. Really working. Keep the core switched on. Keep that connection between the ribs and the pelvis. Don't let the back arch. Feel the bum kicking in as you go behind. Breath out for half a circle. In for half a circle. And now change the direction. But don't let the back move. Out for half and in for half. Really feel the bum kicking in as you go behind. The glutes muscle should really be firing. Keep the core switched on. And lower the leg back down. So check on your pelvic floor and tabs again. Make sure they're switched on. Then breathing in, lift your leg up with the toe pointed. Breathing out, lift the second leg up, flatten the 2 and lower back down. Don't drop at the waist. Breathing in, lift, point and stretch. Breathing out, meet, flatten and lower. Hold the core. Remember, if you're going too high, you've dropped at the waist. Keep the core working. Keep the legs long and pointed. Tighten in. You still got the little gap at the waist. Make sure the legs aren't drifting forwards. Last one. And lower back down. Release the core. And now again, make sure you're all nicely lined up, little gap at the waist, leg long, breathe in and out and pull up inside with the pelvic floor and tighten the core. Now don't roll back, breathing in to prepare, breathe out, lift the two legs up, breathing in, flatten and lower. Keep the core switched on. Keep that ribs connected with the pelvis in the front. So lifting two legs up, point and stretch, breathing in to flatten and lower. Don't roll back at the hips. Make sure you're still feeling it in the glute muscle, that you haven't rolled back. Keep the core switched on. Pelvis and ribs connected. Two more. And back down. And release the core. Now I'm going to do the side bend one, so keeping the core nicely switched on in there. Breathe in through your nose, and as you breathe out, pull up inside for the pelvic floor and tighten the core across the front. And then hand up over the hip. Breathe in to prepare, and then breathing out, raise up, reach and stretch. Breathe in to stay, and breathe out to lower. Hold the core, breathe in to prepare. Breathing out, reach up and stretch. Breathe in to stay, and breathe out to lower. Keep the core working. Tab switched on all the time. Last two. Make sure you're not rolling back. And bend up the two knees.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the class. As always, make sure during the classes that you don't do anything that makes you uncomfortable, and give us a call if there was anything that you felt painful or you weren't happy doing, let us know. During the week, please try and keep remembering to do a little bit of core work. Try and keep your core switched on while you're doing activities around the house. Maybe stand at a sink, or maybe if you're out walking, try and hold the core for a little period of time and then release it and hold it and release it. Same if you're in an office, do it at your chair. If you happen to be a manual worker, if you're outside on a farm, whatever. Try every now and then just to tighten the core, hold it for a little while and then let it go again. And just start to get this feel of being able to keep your core held when you're up and about. That's what you really want to be doing. Okay, so see you in the next class.